the Cajun fried chicken club. I look forward to showing you guys how to make this. I also look forward to standing up because my knees hurt. I've been drinking a lot, so let's get to cooking. Bad news, everybody. I am not drunk yet. A little bit too early to be drinking, but I promise later on in this video I will stay true to the name of this channel. Today we are making some fried chicken sandwiches, Cajun style, a la Popeyes, and we're going to turn it into a delicious club sandwich. It's going to be amazing. We're going to be doing a buttermilk marinade first, which is just really simple. 2 cups of buttermilk, 2 tablespoons of your hot sauce of choice, and 1 tablespoon of Cajun seasoning, again, of your choice. All right, we got our buttermilk, and this buttermilk is done. We're also gonna go ahead and add our 2 tablespoons of hot sauce. And I mean, these don't have to be exact measurements. I'm just kinda eyeballing it here. That feels like 2 tablespoons. Nothing wrong with a little bit more heat. Coming back with a palmful, which in my idea, or my mind, is like a tablespoon. I know it's more than a tablespoon, but you guys get the gist of it. Once we've got this all together, we can put our chicken in.
Whip it real good.
Hey. All right, a whisk would have been better for this, but we're improvising.
You opened the wrong drawer. I know.
Yeah, my pride wouldn't let me go get the right drawer, which is crazy because I'm gonna mess up like 8 more times. All right, so chicken thighs is what I'm using today. Traditionally in the restaurant, they are using chicken breast, but chicken thighs, one, are just juicier, and they're a lot more forgiving in the frying or just in the cooking process in general. Like with chicken breast, it being white meat, it can dry out very fast if you go over its proper internal temperature of 165 versus chicken thighs. You can take this all the way up to 180 if you want to, and it'll still be nice and juicy, delicious. So we're going with that because we want to pack this full of flavor. So I've got that first one in there. Looking at this, just trying to see what makes the most sense in the shape of a sandwich. This big part right here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and make that cut right there. Come back here, make that cut, get a little bit of this fat off. Same thing here at the bottom. And let me just come back and scrape that off. All right, taking a look at it just to make sure it's good. I could take this little piece off here because I want it to cook evenly. These pieces are pretty uniform, and that's important in frying, is you want your meat to be as even as possible across the way, which is great about chicken thighs because they tend to already kind of lay flat. If there is one portion that's like sticking up a little bit more than others, what I would do is take this, put it in like a large Ziploc bag similar to where I have this chicken at, put it in there with a little bit of olive oil, and then you can use your fish, you can use any heavy object. I have this mallet back here. See, I did it. I went for the mallet and it wasn't there. Where would I put a mallet at if I was a mallet?
Oh, it's normally in the kill drawer, but.
Yeah, this is the kill drawer, which is where we put anything that you could potentially kill somebody with. This is
Pick your weapon of choice.
Yeah, everything in here you could kill a man with if you really got creative. So usually I would butterfly a chicken breast and then put it in the bag and flatten it out. The only thing is it's gonna make it so huge that it's gonna look ridiculous on a sandwich, on a bun. This is pretty good, nice and uniform. Into the buttermilk it goes. And this is going to sit in this buttermilk mixture for at least 4 hours. Overnight is better. These sandwiches are going to be amazing. We're going to make our own version of a spicy mayo to make sure we got everything submerged in the buttermilk. This is going to go in the fridge again for 4 hours. Don't just throw away your scraps. We're going to save those for later when hopefully we can grind up some chicken burgers. And if you don't have an immediate need for it, just freeze it. Now, while our chicken is buttermilking, we are gonna take the time to make a Calypso sauce, which is just like a Caribbean spicy mayo. For that, we're gonna start with some very simple ingredients. We're gonna start with let's say about half a cup of just some good mayo.
What makes a good mayo?
People swear that Duke's is the best, and I don't doubt it. I've just actually never had it. To that, we're gonna do 1/4 cup of ketchup. The star of this is going to be this right here, some Scotch bonnet pepper sauce. So we're going to do about 2 tablespoons of that. Some Cajun seasoning, just about half a palmful. Some hickory smoked salt. Let's give that a little bit because we're going to stir this up and we're going to taste it for flavor. Some fresh cracked black pepper, and then some white pepper for a little back end heat. Just a dash. Let's taste it. Touch there. I actually think I nailed that. Whenever you're making these mayo-based sauces, it's really good once you've made it to let it refrigerate for at least an hour because it just helps bring all those flavors together. And we will be back later to put the rest of our ingredients together. One of my favorite things about doing this whole poor choices thing is it's not just me that drinks, it's also my cameraman holding my very expensive equipment. So,
What are you talking about?
I've got a shot here after taking copious amounts of shots. Our chicken has been buttermilking for 9 hours now. Again, 4 hours is the minimum. Overnight won't hurt you. We've got our poor choice here, which is a tequila. Back there, I just finished off some bacon. And then I also am getting our oils, just some canola oil, heated up to 350. The important thing, make sure you know the temperature of your oil because I did a test run of this earlier this week. And trust me, I fucked up because the oil was too hot. It tasted delicious, but the presentation was, that's trash. Let's get our breading going. I guess I have to take a sip of this. Carrie, go on. My brother Carrie's walking by. That's my brother Carrie. You can see the back of him. We're going to do 2 cups of flour, and again, kind of adjust this to how much chicken you are making. I'm just gonna put that in there because I don't mind if the excess. So we've got 1 cup there, and I think this should be, oh, perfect, boom. To this process, the most important thing is adding some corn starch. Let's pop that open, and we only need a tablespoon to this. It goes a long way, but it's gonna add to that crispiness of it. We're gonna be using the Cattleman's combination. So to that first, we're gonna be adding a good palmful of the Cattleman's Cajun Fusion. Oh, more than a palmful, but you know what, it's fine. To that as well, we're gonna add the Cattleman's tri-tip seasoning. So I'm adding a big palmful of that. And to that, just some fresh cracked pepper. I always recommend to everybody, have your pepper as fresh as possible. Man, does it make a difference. And what we are going to do is take I don't have a tiny whisk, I do have a fork. Just gonna take it and mix everything up evenly. Last thing you want is one chicken coated with cornstarch and the others coated with something else. We're gonna try our best to utilize the dry hand, wet hand method. I always fail at this, but maybe this time we'll get lucky. And the whole method is, here's your wet hand, which is gonna go into the wet solution. Get it out, shake it just a little bit, put it into your batter, get it all over your clothes like that.
Is that why bakers wear aprons, John?
That's exactly why they do, and I didn't, so now I have a bunch of flour on my dick. That's nice. So what we're gonna do, just to keep it dry, put some of that on top. We're gonna pat it down. We're gonna flip it over. We're gonna do the same thing, throw some flour on top of it. We wanna really get it packed in there because you'll find there's some crevices that aren't covered yet. So I totally forgot this. We wanna get this extra crispy. So what I'm going to do is take a little bit of this buttermilk and I'm just gonna pour it into here. And then I'm gonna take my fork and I'm gonna whisk it around, and I wanna get it clumpy. The reason I wanna get it clumpy is because I want those pieces of clump to attach to my chicken to add that extra crispiness, that extra texture. Let's re-dredge this with those clumps in there. Pat it down, turn it over, and I'll show you guys, hopefully you can see it in the video, the difference in the texture from just adding that there. Just one more time, taking a piece of chicken, put it in our flour. That was the wet hand, now we're taking the dry hand, covering it up as much as we can, and then patting it in, pressing it down, flipping it over, doing the exact same thing. And I just want to show you guys the difference between the first piece I did, where I dredged it before I did the buttermilk in the batter, and this piece right here. Shaking off just a little bit. And if I put that here, you see how this has a lot more texture to it than that other piece? That's what we're going to. And maybe your eyes aren't attuned to it yet, but I promise you, this is gonna look sexier when it's fried versus this piece, but this piece is still gonna be good. We got our oil is just at 360, which is perfect because it's gonna go down in temperature once we put this in. One of the things you want to do is just dip it down and then drop it away. So in that way, if it does splash, it won't splash on you. And I'm only gonna put 2 in at a time because I don't want it to overcrowd. I don't want them to stick together. The temperature is already dropping down, so I'm gonna have to crank this up. And we're gonna let this go for about 8 minutes or so. And then after that, we'll check on it. We'll probe it, check the internal temperature. So we're gonna check the temperature. And right now it's at, oops, sorry, it went all the way through. Right now it's at 147. Some pieces are gonna cook faster than others. That's why you wanna keep your eye on it. 175 and over if you're using chicken thighs. Between 165 and 170 if you're using chicken breasts. Our chicken has come off, I probed it. It got over 175, which is amazing. I literally just took it off the grease. I put it on a paper towel lined baking sheet. And right now, while the heat is still there, I'm just gonna put this cheese on top and let that do its melting job. We're gonna finish cooking the rest of the chicken and then we'll start plating it and I'll show you how to put it together. We have taken all our pieces of chicken out of the frying oil. They all reached over 175, which is perfect. So now we're going to assemble our chicken with the freshest piece here. So I'm gonna bring that over there. I already put my piece of cheese on there because I want it to melt a little bit. So remember our Calypso sauce earlier that we made? We're gonna sauce that bottom pretty well. Spicy pickles go on. As my phone notifications go off, some shredded lettuce. Just put it on top, like so. Tomatoes go on next. We only need 1. Chicken goes on top. Some half pieces of bacon. Take the top of our bun. Get that nice and spread on as well. We're gonna go down like fried Cajun chicken club. We've got the spicy pickles. We've got our Calypso sauce instead of a spicy mayo, Caribbean flavor. Thank you, Caribbean people. Tomatoes, lettuce, an amazingly fried and battered chicken sandwich, and a brioche bun. You can't beat it. Now, I didn't invent the chicken sandwich. I won't even claim to it. You can easily go on YouTube and find all the copycat recipes for said sandwich, but I feel like we did it really, really good.